Welcome back to Rapid Quants. This is Michael Merle. It's October 14th, 2024, and we're back with another market update. Okay, I'm back. I caught a really nasty cold. Last week, if you remember, I mentioned it, and I said, I'm going to be fine next week. And yeah, I'm much better, but I'm not going to lie. It was a brutal week, and I'm still a bit congested, so apologize for my voice in advance. But as they say, no rest for the wicked. We've got a lot of work to do, exciting things on the horizon. And yeah, let's get started here. Bitcoin as usual, and I've already plunked the expected move ranges. And if you still don't know what they are, I always plot them. I have to find them in here somewhere. Here we go. Okay, I got a million spreadsheets open. That's what I do. But this one you can find right here under bit.ly crypto EM ranges. Okay, so take a look at this URL right here. And I'm going to actually update this up here. It's week number 42 now. So I just updated this with the new expected move ranges. And again, as I keep repeating, this is based on simply calculating the standard deviation of realized volatility, of historical volatility, and projecting the trading range for the coming week. So I calculate these starting Monday to Friday. In similar fashion as we're doing it with implied volatility in the options market. I've explained this a few times, maybe go back 1 or 2 videos and watch that. If you're curious exactly how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, and what it does for us. But just in a nutshell, the main takeaway here is that you take these ranges and you expect price usually 68% of the time. 1 standard deviation, remember the old bell curve that taught you in school? You expect price to remain in this range. And if it doesn't, well, then usually things start to accelerate. And that's great because having set the stage, so to say, let's take a look at this week's market because I've already plunked them on there. And you're actually going to see 2 lines here, right? Because I've kept, I think this is blue, last week's right here. These are last week's ranges, and they're so close to each other you can barely see them. Which is interesting, right? So we basically dropped all the way down and came back and started the week almost exactly where we started the previous week. The week that started on, that was the 7th, right? And if you compare the expected move range, if you scroll up here, it was between 65,994 and 59,584 in Bitcoin. And then here, well, actually this is the same as this one, I just, cleaned it up a little bit. And if we're going again to Bitcoin right here, and here we got 65,934, right? So if you compare that, very close, right? 59,745, and here we got 59,584. I mean, same difference, right? And they're really close to each other. The current one, which is in the orange, is getting a little bit, tiny bit narrow, but we're basically back from whence we came. Interesting. What's also interesting is that we start the week right here today, this morning. Well, at midnight, right? For crypto traders. We don't have trading hours in crypto. We don't need them stinking trading hours, right? 24/7, baby. And yeah, we're shooting higher, and we're kind of like in earshot of the upper expected move threshold, which coincidentally lines up very nicely with this. Do we have more? I think it lines up very nicely all over the place here. See here. I mean, again, we're talking crayons, so I never really draw thin lines and expect price to make a full stop there. It's not going to happen. All right. So interesting. We have this here, and, well, we've been bouncing around this sideways flag for, I don't know, well, since late February, and got me with a spoon. I'm so sick of it, and so is everyone else. And that's why one of the reasons why we keep staying inside of it, because it's just too much fun to play those swings, especially if you're a whale. Those are great places to sell and to buy near the lower thresholds. So let's look at Ethereum. Very similar, actually. Again, I've done the same thing, and you barely can see the difference between last week's upper threshold, because you can, if I zoom in really a lot, you might be able to see it. But I think they're so close to each other that you barely see it. The lower one actually has risen a little bit more. What does that mean? Well, it means that we're compressing a little bit more again. So it's good. We keep compressing. And if you paid attention last week, what we were explaining to you, I was saying that if these ranges start compressing, that gives you a strong hint we're about to see a big move, especially the tighter they go. Back in the days, we used to refer to that as the market is coiling up, especially when it was doing it inside of flag maybe, like just basic technical analysis where there may be a sideways flag or some range-bound market or something like this, right? And sometimes it was like a flag like this, right? Then start compressing, and it was really coiling up, and then boom, it took off, right? One direction or the other. It's something to really look out for. So here, we don't really have a strong pattern, but we see this compressing, and I feel that if we make it above here, right? What is that? That's 2596, so 2600. We make it above 2600, and we're off to the races, I feel, right? Okay, next, let's talk about total 3. All right, so also remember from last week what I said. We drew these lines here, and feel free to shift them around at your convenience. Is this actually adjusting the size of the chart? Yes, it is. Okay. And what I pointed out was that it was pushing above this upper threshold here, right? This, if we're talking about flags, right here. Sorry, I need something to lubricate my voice a little bit. So we have this upper resistance line here, right? This cluster of resistance that we've built. I mean, another way of referring to this was a series of lower lows and lower highs, right? Boom, 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 boom. Basic technical analysis. So what happens? We breach above it right here, and then we retest. That's beautiful. I'm telling you guys, this is one of the best entries you can get, okay? Put your stop down below here, and off we go. But how do you trade this? It's total 3. It's altcoins. Well, one way to trade it is, of course, right here. I got my Crypto Keeper entries. And I haven't talked too much about it. It's a system we built for altcoins. And the way it flows is that, let me actually pop it up on the screen. I have it somewhere. It's right here. And it's not on the website yet because I developed this system, a few months back. And I just had it running quietly, right? And with our beta testers. They seem to be very happy about it. It has periods when it's very active. And again, let me explain how this thing flows. When you see these vertical pushes up, so if you're looking at the alerts, these are obviously altcoin entries. And here are the rules, right? We only take a maximum of 3 trades per day because of correlation. Because what I figured out with the system is that there's certain phenomena that I find in the altcoin market. And they have a lot in common in regards to like correlation, right? I mean, they seem to move in unison a lot. And so what my parser found when I start doing my backtesting, doing my analysis, right? All kinds of data sifting, slicing, and dicing that I do almost every day, because it's what I like to do. I found phenomenon that I sought to exploit, which I thought had a strong edge, and it actually really does. And the thing is that it happens in correlation a lot. So it's not unusual to see something like this, right? Long candidates. And that's the way I kind of phrase these alerts, because I can say, okay, I cannot really pick just 1 or 2 or 3 of them, because then we would see, if I would trade all of these, right, which nobody would do in their right mind. Now, nobody would take 10, 15 altcoins that same day and trade them all in the same direction. I mean, maybe if you have deep pockets and you have money to burn, you might want to do that. But anyone among us who has a normal portfolio to work with, we're just going to take 2 or 3 entries. And that's what I do here. I just pick randomly 3 of them. Actually, what I do, I just average the returns of all of them and then multiply that by 3. And that's basically how I come up with these, right? Where I say, okay, 1, 2, 3, that's what they made. Because they're all so highly correlated that they all fairly much move in unison. Now, admittedly, they don't all move exactly the same. So this is average returns for that particular trading day, right? When you see 3 up or 3 down. That's why you always see 3 or 3 down. Unless there are fewer than 3 trades, then you see, for instance, here just 1 up, right? Or 2 or 3 up. Makes sense? Sort of, right? The other thing is, with the system, it's intermittent, meaning it's a phenomenon in the altcoin market that I exploit. Well, it doesn't happen all the time. That's the thing. It doesn't happen all the time. It happens sometimes 3 times a week. And then it doesn't happen for 3 weeks. But then when it happens, it really happens. Like, for instance, here in early August, look at this. This thing was just going crazy, right? So it's been flat a little bit for a while. Just hang on here. And then recently it just took trades right here. That was actually the result of these trades here. Nulls and Super, we took 2 trades. Boom, boom. See right here? 1, 2. See? And see, again, the returns were very similar, actually, because in this case, we only had 2 trades. See? 1, 2. And we recently actually had a new alert, bunch of alerts actually. So we've got movement, which also is in line with what we're seeing on Bitcoin. This was early at 7:06 a.m., which, well, that's for me. So that would be fairly late for, well, you guys in the US. But for us in Europe, it would have been tradable. But on days like this, actually, we often see another alert that same day, which is really crazy. And they happen all over the place. Look at the timing here. For me, this is 9 p.m. That would be 3 p.m. for you guys. You guys, East Coast, right? Or would be noon on the West Coast. Here's 1 p.m. for me, 6 p.m., you get the idea. So they're all over the place. You don't know when they strike. But when they strike, and then you take them. And sometimes that also happen on the same day, which I just outlined, right? Here, October 3rd, we had actually 2 alerts, right? One at 1 p.m. and one at 9 p.m. for me again. In the morning for you guys and then the afternoon again. I think it's really cool. It's a really cool system. And for all you altcoin degenerates, this is manna from heaven. So I have had it running for a while now. It's been issuing alerts. And I'm going to make it available probably towards the end of the week. I've got some super bundle I have in mind for you guys that I'm going to be making available. And of course, I'm going to make it available separately as well if you just want to jump into the fray here. Great system. What else is going on? Oh, yeah. Oh, very important. You guys have been bugging me about Gravitas, and I've been so busy. Well, what I mean by bugging me, I needed to bring the signal back, and I have been doing quite a lot of backtesting and optimization on specifically Ethereum, because Bitcoin was back for a while now. What is it right now? Down 1% or so. It was up, it was down. It's going through the motions right now with all these wild swings. Let's see where we end up. It's long again now. Might be the right direction based on what we're seeing today. So that's good. Ethereum has been short, and then I think recently, let me see here, is it still short? It's still short because Ethereum is weaker still than Bitcoin. And this is basically the configuration that it shows in terms of my comments and everything. And well, that's what it produces right here for the last 4 years. Again, that's just based on buying one Bitcoin contract back in the day, back in 2020. So that's some juicy profits if you bought Ethereum back then. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this week. I don't have too much to add. We're trading altcoins, we're trading Ethereum again. The signal is back. Everything's humming along. I'm very happy, and I also like where the market is going right now. This is very positive. Bitcoin is very positive right now. This is good. It's going to make a move toward the end of the year. If I have this in my bones, famous last words, I know. But we'll see. This is a good time of the year for the stock market as well, by the way. Things are coming back after the summer lull. And usually this is where all the action happens. And also, let's not forget, it's an election year. So there are going to be fireworks this year. It's going to be awesome. All right. I'll leave you with this. And yeah, I'll see you all next week. Okay. Cheers.